Welcome to Weaving the Magic, and today's video, which is the Empress card of the Major Arcana in the Tarot. This is card number 3 of the Major Arcana. I'm going to go through this video through the symbolism that shows up in these cards, the archetype of the Empress, what all of this means, and some good fun stuff. So I want to first point out I've got 8 different versions of the Empress card here from different deck creators. And obviously, each deck creator had a slightly different resonance with what the Empress meant to them. This is the card from the, I'll call it the regular tarot or whatever. This is one of the most commonly known decks across the world. This is the Pamela Coleman Smith artwork or the Rider-Waite Tarot. This is a lot of the most common symbolism that you'll see repeated throughout other decks. So you see here the symbol for Venus. Venus is the planet of love, nurture, abundance, beauty. Venus is about having luxurious items. It's about tangible nurture. It's also about the aesthetics of harmony. And the Empress is almost always represented as a feminine or a woman. This is someone who's able to create life, to give birth, to have an idea. And it's the point and the purpose is the word create. And I'm going to jump right up here too. I love this deck. This is the Mythic Tarot. So these seem like two totally different archetypes, but they're not. Death and birth, creation and destruction are one and the same. They're two sides of the same coin. And the Empress as Kali, this is the goddess of destruction. If it needs to die, if it needs to go, if it needs to be killed so that new life can be created or saved or whatever, that's what's going to happen. The Empress is all about the process of creation, which includes destruction. Here, this is a really interesting card. This is the Body Tarot, and the Empress is represented here by the veins in the body. It's what carries the nurture of blood to the different body parts. The veins are the mother of the body in which they reach, or in that they reach to every place. There's nothing unreachable with mother's love. There's nothing that can afford to be under-nurtured in the body either, so the veins go everywhere. They have a hand, literally, and everything. And this is like, there's so much symbolism around the hands, especially with Kali here and all the additional arms and hands. Excuse me, still getting over my chest cold here. There's so much power that's held being a creator. And this creator, the Empress, takes so many of her notes from nature. Look at this Empress card. This is the Yarn Tarot. Here's Venus again, carved into the symbol of the tree. This Empress is like resting to create is another big key here. Like, there's not a lot of action happening here. There's a lot of sitting around luxuriating and viewing, like taking in inspiration from the surroundings of nature. This like harvest wheat from the abundance of nature, this golden color too. It's like the honey, the sweetness, the wonderful, by allowing yourself to rest and receive cosmic guidance. That's the star crown. We are inspired into action. This is definitely not a human design video, but I do enjoy human design. I myself am a manifester, and a lot of my process is what the Empress card archetype is about. I've also got my Venus in the first house in Leo, and that's a lot of Empress vibes as well there. And one of my more difficult lessons to learn in this lifetime has been to allow myself to rest and be inspired before taking action. Action comes in the Emperor card and card number 4. The Empress is the energy of waiting to be inspired to action. Video for life interruptions, so forgive, I don't exactly remember where I left off here. But we'll just jump right back in because I'm pretty sure I was talking about the veins and the nurture and the that there's nothing that like mother love can't reach. And proper nurture gives us what this card is labeled as contentment. Proper nurture, being able to nurture ourselves, being able to own and harness our own inner Empress archetype, regardless of how you present and your gender or whatever. Um, this is the proper ability to nurture ourselves. And what I mean by nurture is give ourselves the things that we need, not only just for survival, but for growth and enjoyment, delight, even. Like all of these butterflies in here. The Empress is not about transformation, it is about freedom and beauty and expression, though. It's about like, is succulence a word? It's about decadence. And it's like taking care of the small. And so, in a way, it's about transformation because it is so very much about growth and we do transform as we grow. But really, it's about nurturing something that starts as a small seed, turning it into a water flow, a waterfall, an overflow of abundance, of peace, of harmony. Like here, the mountains are in the background because there is some hardship implied with becoming the Empress. I mean, it's difficult to rule. This is mother energy. Being a mother is challenging. It's rewarding, it's beautiful, it grows you as a person, but it's also a challenge because it gives you so much to maintain. It gives you so much to have to do and take care of, which again brings me back to why it's so important to actually rest and relax and allow yourself to regain the energy to put out more nurture. The Empress has so much to do with, are we giving ourselves what we need so that we can continue um, being the energy that feeds others? There is no doing here in the Empress card, it's being. And just by being the powerful, beautiful peace holder that the Empress is, she creates and births new experiences into the world and nurture. And again, bringing it back to Kali over here, will destroy if need be anything that's going to um, tamper or burn or stunt the growth of her creations. Many of the cards have the symbolism of like this staff of holding the power. And again, the power to nurture is a very necessary power to hold because when you don't have that power, your nurture is dependent on other people in the world. And that's not a good place to be in. I mean, it's vulnerable enough when you're a child to have to depend on your parents to nurture you appropriately. When you're an adult, if you've not yet learned how to do that, it's imperative that that be one of your main focus points in adulthood, in the journey of actually becoming a full human being. Because if you're dependent on nurture from other people who also don't know how to nurture their own selves, how in the world are they going to give you what you need? Even if they want to, even if they consider you to the fullest, even if they love you to the fullest, you need to know what you need for your own growth. And the Empress asks us to look at, like, what do you feel like supports you? What inspires you? What are you surrounded by? What can you see in abundance? The Empress and practices like gratitude practice are so very linked to. One of the greatest things we can do for ourselves is like start the day with an attitude of gratitude or come back to our gratitude. This is like a really important perspective to be able to harness gratitude. And one of those gratitude practices or something that you could be grateful for is like abundance. Well, what if you don't have an abundance of money or an abundance of peace or an abundance of whatever? Look at what you do have an abundance of: breath. You're not running out of oxygen ever, anytime soon, unless you're in a very enclosed room or you're on an oxygen tank and it's about to run out. almost every person in the world is not about to run out of oxygen. There is an abundance of oxygen at any given moment. You don't have to worry about where your next breath is coming from. It's looking at like what you have, what's there, especially what nature provides. Not for anything, a lot of tactics and skills that we've lost over the years, especially in this Western society, is like the ability to go out into nature and feed ourselves, to be able to forage, to let nature provide for us. So perhaps, depending on whatever your questions are in your reading or whatever, it's like look to nature to provide that sustenance, that nurture. One piece that's really heavy in the Empress card for me personally, is the archetype of mother. And the Empress is not necessarily the mother archetype, or even, well, she is definitely an archetype of the mother. And to me, I didn't have a strong mother energy, and so leaning into this this archetype as like, this is how the universe will present itself to me. Sometimes the universe shows up as a fathering energy, giving me the structure or the discipline or the whatever it is that I need. That's like more of a platform, more of a, I don't want to say hard in the way of like a challenge or a difficulty, but more stable, structured, um, not soft. The Empress is this soft energy that's like, come here, sweet baby, let me hold you. Let me wrap myself around you, which is like the three. All these are Roman numerals, but look at the three. The three is curls and loops. It's shape, it's form, it's a dance. It's partly a spiral. This is the softness of the Empress energy that can wrap you up and spin you around, dance with you to give you a different perspective, a softened perspective, so that you can see the good, the beauty, the love in the world, in yourself, in the people around you. If the Empress is coming out upright in any general reading, it's almost always a nod toward something needs to be nurtured or cared for or grown, or something is showing you that energy. If it's in reverse, or if it's in like a, um, I'm trying to think of specific questions. I, I hate to go here, but I'm going to go here anyways. This archetype, and I'm pointing especially to this card, and I'm so glad this one exists in tandem. This woman is one of the images that like represents how sick and screwed up our society is sometimes. I mean, it has nothing to do with her like sexual nature, but it kind of does. It doesn't have much to do with her nudity almost, but it kind of does. Like, in this weird place that we're in right now with like spirituality for sale and all this stuff, I see so many spiritual teachers, high priestesses, empresses, like parading around in bikinis or nude and butts and stuff all over the place, which is fine if that's your path. I mean, it really is. You're totally fine to do whatever you want. But that's like the shade or the shadow of the Empress, right? It's not about beauty in the sense of being pretty. It's not about beauty in the sense of like, let's put on this makeup and this crown of stars and this filter and have like these long curly damsel tendrils and the whole aesthetic. Okay. Yes, the Empress has a lot to do with beauty, but it's about an inner beauty that actually is kind and compassionate and caring and considerate and contemplative and understands the cycles and the rhythm and the magic of nature. Nature, by the way, includes the ugly, includes death, includes decay. This card is a peahen, not a peacock. Peacocks are the ones that show up with like bright colors and all of that plumage. Peahens are modest. They're brown and green and they don't really like show off because it's not about what you look like on the outside. the veins. This is the Empress. Kali, this is the Empress. No, I deserve nurture. And if you come at me with anything less, I'm going to chop your head off. Don't come at me with a poison cup or anything else telling me it's nurture when it's not. The Empress is not just this soft, demure, surrendered, yielding, weak in any way, shape, or form. The Empress rules with nurture, with her value system intact, with divine cosmic guidance, with humility. Now, again, that does not mean don't show your body, be ashamed of your sexuality, don't be sensual. That doesn't have a place in spirituality. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. I just don't personally agree with as a marketing tactic using my nakedness and stuff like that to call people in. Um, and I'm sorry if it comes out as judgment and you feel it that way. Um, I just, it makes it difficult for people to discern what's true. And that's for everyone to decide for themselves as well. But the society that we live in uses our sexual creativity um, as bondage. And I hate to see people go down that path. So, take that for what you will or don't. Ignore it completely. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. I just know for me that my Empress energy is not dependent on how I look or how much skin is showing or how beautiful I'm made up. It's completely comprised of how do I hold myself? How do I view myself as part of the larger scale of the cosmos? Am I nurturing my own self? Am I giving that nurture energy? Am I sharing that nurture energy? Am I being someone who actually deserves to be idolized in the sense of the value that I am, the characteristics that I am, the character that I am, or just for the way that I look? Personally, I'd always rather be valued for how much I'm bringing to the table. What else do I want to talk about? You see the pomegranates in here. Pomegranates are that like wonderfully juicy seeds, the seeds, and how it's all in little pieces and an abundance of them. You have to crack open this thing and do the difficult work to get to all this juicy, wonderful, delicious stuff on the inside. The Empress is that too. The Empress does not give her love away for free to people that are less than deserving. She sits and observes and sees, does this tree need more nurture, sunlight, whatever? She's not just out with a watering can pouring water all over everything that doesn't need it. She's sitting and observing and taking notes and understanding where she's wanted, needed, and appreciated and where she's not. And she promptly chops the head off of, meaning removes it from her life, removes herself from caring about it, anything that isn't serving the constant harmonizing, growth. I love the Empress archetype. And again, whatever gender or non binary or anything that you present as, every human being can access this archetype within them. What do I need? Am I meeting my own needs? Am I meeting them so fully that now I'm well rested and from a place of inspiration, I can create whatever I'm inspired to do? Open myself up and express. So much about expression and creation. Just like number 3, the life path number 3 has so much to do with creativity. So does the Empress. Creating harmony, creating beauty, creating love. And doing that naturally as part of the natural rhythm, which begets contentment. So I think I'm going to end this here before I just restate all of the facts and things that I had already said. I hope that you embrace the Empress within. and that you leave some comments with your experience with this archetype or questions. I would love it if you subscribe to the channel so you can get updates on the new videos when they get released. And I think that's it for my ramble. Thank you so much. Take care.